Every month, I buy stocks for the asymmetric portfolio, and the idea here is to build a portfolio in public, starting from zero, and then outperforming the market. That is exactly what has happened with the asymmetric portfolio since it began. If you are interested in following that and finding all of my picks for August, subscribe to the Asymmetric Investing newsletter. There's a link on the screen and a link in the show notes. That's where you get all of my stocks that I buy every single month, along with all the research that goes along with it. Today, I'm going to release one of those stocks here on the YouTube channel. And the idea here is to find companies that have 10x potential over the next 10 years. Now, the market is getting very pricey. So I'm looking for companies now that have at least a little bit of value and a lot of growth potential. And the stock that I'm going to go through today is Uber. I think Uber is still one of those companies that's still underestimated. And the real reason that they have 10x potential today isn't the business that we know today. It's actually the future, which is autonomy. I'm going to go through why I'm so bullish on their position in the market. My name is Travis Hoyam. Thanks for watching Asymmetric Investing. And like I said, if you're interested in more from me, check out my Asymmetric Investing newsletter. I've got a lot of great content that has come out over the past week with a lot of earnings reports coming out. And that's where you can keep up to date with my asymmetric portfolio. And I also want to thank this video sponsor, Fiscal AI. Fiscal AI is going to be the platform that I use for a lot of my content here on Asymmetric Investing, the YouTube channel, and also use their charts all the time in the information that we get from things like transcripts, insider, buys and sells. All of that is on one platform in Fiscal AI. So if you want to up your research, check out fiscal.ai/ASYM. They'll give you 2 weeks of their pro version for free. Then you can get 15% off. So let's go to Fiscal AI and Uber Technologies. Just go over the overview of the company, $183 billion market cap. Not the cheapest stock. I would love to be buying shares of Uber at more like a 20 price to earnings multiple, but on a forward basis, we have a 30 price to earnings multiple. Now, keep in mind, that's about what the entire market trades for right now. So there's not a lot of stocks that you're going to find a lot of growth and a valuation that's better than this. This is sort of the balance right now. I want to buy great companies. I want to get them for a good price. Not a lot of great prices out there right now, but we do have phenomenal growth, 3-year compound annual growth rate, 28.5%, 5 years, about the same. If we flip over to their financials, this is what has really changed about Uber over the last few years. Under their current CEO, they have now become a profitable company and a positive free cash flow company. So this growth, revenue growth, that's the black column here, that continues to be really solid. I'll pull this up in all trailing 12-month numbers, and you can see this profitability, the operating leverage that they have in the business continues to compound quarter after quarter. Now, over the past 12 months, there's $12.3 billion worth of net income, $7.8 billion worth of positive free cash flow, and that continues to move higher. All of their KPIs look really solid as well. These are key performance indicators. Again, this is one of the advantages of the Fiscal AI platform. You get all these really great drivers of the business. So in purple, you have the monthly active platform customers, now 170 million customers, just a recurring revenue business essentially. And then total trips, now up to 11.7 million. The compound annual growth rate of those, 12% and 21% respectively. So people are using the platform more and more. And this is really the idea behind Uber's business. It is an aggregator for demand. I know that this is essentially kind of a marketplace business, but more and more it's becoming the place to go for everything from rides to food delivery to even hard goods, things that you can purchase from retailers all across the country and really all over the world. So you want to own companies where consumers are choosing to interact with that app or that service on an ongoing basis. That's exactly what you get with Uber. But what's most impressive for me and what I think is going to 10x the size of the potential business is autonomy. Before I get to some of their recent autonomy partnerships, I want to explain one of the reasons this is going to impact their revenue and their margins really significantly in the future. What you see here in black is their total revenue, and then in blue is total gross bookings. So what Uber does, and this is typical for most of the ride sharing companies, they do not take revenue based on what you spend for a ride. So if you spend $10 for a ride, Uber does not generate $10 worth of revenue. That's $10 worth of bookings, but the 75% or so that they're going to share with the driver is not considered revenue for Uber. So Uber, for that $10 ride, only going to generate about $2.50 in revenue. That's what you see here. That's the difference between the black column and the blue column. This bookings number is the actual revenue that's going through the system. That would be $168 billion in the trailing 12 months. So how is that going to change in autonomy? Well, now the dynamic is completely different. There's no driver. You may be sharing revenue with fleet operators, but you potentially have a higher take rate from the revenue that you're generating. So you're expanding the market overall, and you're potentially increasing that take rate in your margin as well. So there's some potentially positive dynamics there that could just drive revenue simply higher for Uber. But let's get to some of those partnerships. And I'm going to tie all this together in just a moment, but I want to just go through the last month or so of announcements from Uber because they are all focusing on autonomous driving. Lucid, Nuro, and Uber partner to build a next generation autonomous robotaxi program. So Uber is going to actually help fund the company. Nuro is now more of a technology company. Lucid, obviously a manufacturer. What are they trying to do? They're trying to bring more suppliers into the ecosystem to partner with them. Baidu and Uber join forces to accelerate autonomous vehicle development. Again, an automaker that they're going to use as a supplier. Atlanta, the future of Waymo is here. Waymo is operating now on Uber in Atlanta. There's a few cities that they're doing this in the US. Waymo going to be one of those suppliers. They do have their own app, but they've actually leaned into partners like Uber to be the demand source. And even in the UK, Wave and Uber launch a L4 autonomous trials in the UK. So what's going on here? This is what Uber presented in February. So a few months ago, this is something that's been a vision for quite a while. It's been pretty clear what their strategy has been in autonomous driving for at least 6 months, if not a year at this point. They see $1 trillion opportunity in autonomous vehicles, but how are they going to get there? They're not going to get there by having one supplier. They're going to be the point of demand, the aggregator of demand for ride sharing, for food, for everything that you could potentially be delivering, whether it's people or products. And what they want to do is they want to commoditize their supply. So they want to have as many partners as possible. So here's their Uber partners, and here's their other potential partners. So we've already seen Waymo, they've got a partnership with WeRide in the Middle East. Nuro, that's a partnership I just mentioned. Baidu, Mobileye is a company they're partnering with, launching vehicles from Volkswagen. That's going to be, I believe, in Los Angeles in 2026. So this is, like I said, from February. Even since then, there's been a handful of partnerships. That's going to bring more autonomous vehicle supply to Uber. But the constant here is Uber is the point of demand. And I think that's going to open up more sources of growth for the business model. You could see it being lower cost to deliver people and products with autonomous vehicles. So that probably expands the market. But autonomous vehicles are also available almost 24/7. So if you look at, this is the average demand for vehicles or for rides throughout a week. So there's this trough in demand overnight after 6 p.m. and before 6 a.m. This is all opportunity cost for a company like Uber, and Uber, remember, is the demand source. Then you have the fleet suppliers who are going to actually be owning vehicles. Probably not likely that Uber is the owner of these autonomous vehicles. Somebody else is going to be doing that ownership, whether that's a big company or whether that's more local fleet operators. But this is an opportunity to deliver things overnight. Maybe you put in a grocery order at 10 p.m. when you're going to bed, and it's just sitting on your front step at 5 a.m. when you wake up. There's a lot of opportunity if these vehicles are out and running and available and basically have nothing to do in that period of time. That's where I think you're going to see market expansion. There's going to be new business opportunities, and a company like Uber is going to be able to take advantage of that. So you have the core business that they have today with the human drivers, but that is going to expand as you have more autonomous vehicles. I think it makes operating vehicles less expensive, makes it more accessible for more people. There's a lot of people who don't want to get into a vehicle with a random person driving, including children. You have more hours of operation that could potentially be available. And I think more businesses, more supply is going to come online as well. Add all this up, this is going to be a phenomenal company for the next decade or two. That's why I'm going to add more to Uber in the asymmetric portfolio in August. And like I said, if you want to see what else I'm buying in August, subscribe to Asymmetric Investing, link on the screen and a link in the show notes. There's a free side and there's also a premium side. That's going to give you access to all of my research and also the asymmetric portfolio. So I'd love to have you as part of that community, but let me know what you think about Uber today. Leave your comments in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to Asymmetric Investing. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time.